how am I going to get clients without knowing Japanese? Do you know how frustrating that is?
Yeah.
If you're a business owner, you need to get your SEO on point. No. This can't be a thing. Like, you can't be charging this much money. How?
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Passion Project Japan. Today our special guest is
Sophia.
Yeah, so you want to give a bit of introduction about yourself?
Yeah, hello, my name is Sofia. I'm a photographer in Japan. I focus mainly on portraits, weddings, recently branched out into like engagements and families. But I also am the founder of Matrix Education, which is an educational platform for physician associates in the UK.
Wow.
There's a very impressive background right there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions and we do too. So let's delve into this. Firstly, I guess we kind of want to ask, like, if you have a business in the UK, what are you doing in Japan?
My husband's Japanese, so I just kind of like moved myself to where he is. No, I mean, like, to be honest, I've always wanted to come to Japan. It's something that's always been actually literally up there since I was a kid, actually. So coming to Japan was something that I just genuinely always wanted to do, photography aside. The main reason I guess I'm now in Japan is, like I said, my husband is Japanese, so it's convenient, but also to me, Japan has so much beauty that I felt if I want to really take my photography career seriously, then this is the country to do that. Even though I cannot speak Japanese, well, I wouldn't say at all. Like I can like speak a little bit, but yeah, I guess I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
So how did you meet your husband, and also how did you start your photography career?
So I met him when I was at university. I actually went to med school.
Med school. And that's in the UK?
Yes,
Okay.
in the UK. So I did my first degree was in human biosciences, and then afterwards I wanted to branch into medicine, so I did something called the physician associate degree, which is basically a new profession in the UK where you work with doctors and nurses to help diagnose lots of different diseases. So I did the physician associate degree, which was another 2 years at university, and that's where I met my husband during that period. He's not a medical person at all, but I met him on one of my placements, actually, when I was a student. So, yeah, I had no idea he was Japanese because he's half Japanese, half Irish.
Oh, half Irish.
half Irish.
Yeah,
Okay.
nice combo.
It's a unique combo, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and in terms of photography, to be honest, it's just something that's always been in the background of my life. I remember getting my first camera when I was like playing with my first camera, maybe when I was like 10, super young, 10, 11. My parents, they used to have like a compact camera, and I just always used to take it with me everywhere, and I was just always drawn to taking photos, and it wasn't of people, it was just of everything, of what was going on around me. I just constantly wanted to take photos. I guess it was a little obsession. But then, growing up Pakistani in a South Asian household, it was always kind of drilled into me. I wouldn't call my parents like super strict or anything, but I grew up basically thinking that photography was not a career, that, it's something to do on the side. It's something to do as
It's a hobby.
It's a hobby for fun, and that was my mindset for a very long time, actually, and especially during university while I pursued medicine. Yeah.
Was that the reason why you chose medicine as well? Because of your parents, like the the pressure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think a lot of Asian households.
Yeah.
have
I
this
know,
kind
like a lot of
pressure.
people say that, but interestingly, I remember when I actually spoke to my dad about doing medicine and going into that career path, my dad actually told me, "Are you sure you want to do it?" Because he was like, "You're just gonna, it's gonna be super stressful. You're gonna be in a lot of debt," which, coming
Student
from
debt,
coming from a South Asian household is not common, but that my parents are quite diplomatic in that sense. Well, they'll think about the bigger picture, and I said, yeah, I want to do medicine. Like I want to do this. I want to help people because I did have an interest in science and biology and the human body. It was something very interesting to me. So I did that, and I actually don't regret it because I'm still using the knowledge that I got from that till this day in my educational company for physician associates. So I don't regret it one bit, but photography was something I always did in the background. So during university, actually, I was doing weddings.
Okay, as a side hustle.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
that was
Okay.
my side hustle for a while, and it wasn't something that I saw as, oh yeah, this can be a job. Like, it was something that I just liked to do on the side, and I found it enjoyable, and getting paid for it was a bonus. It was just a bonus that I'm getting at the time, like a couple £100, which is like, I don't know, $200-300 US.
When right now in this economy, maybe like your money.
yeah, like
Yeah.
200-300. I used to shoot weddings for like $200-300.
And there's like a whole day of shoot.
Whole day.
Oof,
Yeah,
wow.
whole day. Like I'm talking about 8 a.m. start, 8 p.m. finish.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it was something that I just really enjoyed. And then I slowly just put my work on the internet. Specifically, it was just a website. I didn't actually have an Instagram for a very long time. Yeah, I just put it on the internet. Back then, there was a site called Flickr.
Oh,
yeah, I know
I use
Flickr.
Flickr. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
a Flickr account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back then, I put a lot of my work on Flickr, and because of the city where I lived, called Birmingham, people just kind of found me through like word of mouth and recommendations, and then slowly, that was something I was doing quite regularly while I was studying.
Student.
While I was studying at uni, and it honestly, it basically paid my way through university. I didn't get any grants or anything. I had my student loans, obviously, but I didn't have any really like jobs that people do part-time while at university, because when you're a student, it's student life, you are broke.
Yeah.
So it helped. It paid a lot of things for me, photography, and that's basically how I guess dipped my toes or started from weddings specifically. And as photographers know, if you're a photographer, you know that weddings are like, you start getting paid from weddings. If you want to start as a photographer, I personally would
weddings are
recommend.
really tiring, I think. Yeah, the whole day.
Yeah.
Do you like, for your first client, was it like somebody that you knew, like more like friend of a family, and then do you like work for free, or did you like approach them, or did you like say, hey, I do this photography, I have this service, do you want it?
So actually, the first wedding I shot was for an agency. So it was like an agency that hires photographers, and you don't edit the photos, you just take the photos.
Okay.
You just take the photos, and then if you want to, you can edit them, but they are responsible for the editing. And I was paid like $150 to shoot that wedding, and I
Okay.
was actually the main photographer.
Oh, wow, on your very first gig?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, my
Wow.
first wedding,
First
like
wedding.
proper
Oh.
wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was very, I don't know if you could swear on here, but like really scared, scared. But yeah, that was how I got into it. And then I took the photos from that wedding, edited them to a style that I really liked, even though it wasn't something that the client specifically asked for, because I just actually ended up giving the client the raw, well, in this case, the client was the agency, the raw photos. But I actually asked them, can I use these photos for my portfolio? And they were like, yep, that's fine. And I edited them and then I just put them online, and people liked them. And I think, I can't remember if it was my mom, actually. She told me you should be charging more money. Yeah, more money for this. And yeah, so that was how I got my first ever wedding client. But you guys have no idea, I've done it all. Like, I've done products, I've done events, I did club photography.
So like the night flash and everything.
I did. I shot studios as well, like families and studio sessions, and I tried everything, actually. Like, I wanted to try all the different types of photography before I actually chose like what I do now. So, and yeah, I was always drawn to photographing people.
And what about weddings do you think kind of capture you or make you want to keep doing like weddings? And now, because you're doing kind of more like pre-wedding engagement shoots, so what about like these kind of moments you think really attract you in terms of like photography?
So with wedding, I feel like you essentially are allowed into this couple's extremely important and special day, and they've given you a chance to photograph that day and make it as memorable and as, I guess, beautiful as possible. So I feel like I really enjoy kind of not sorry. Yeah, I really enjoy just kind of like, capturing those moments for them. And to be honest, like, just seeing the reaction after when they get the photos is just amazing. Like, just wow, like the comments, or like even just sometimes I actually used to deliver albums in person just to see like
look of joy.
just to see their look of joy. And I think it's just that. And also with weddings, there's just so many different aspects to it. Like, there's portraits of like the couple, there's candid moments, and there's the details, and the ceremony. There's so many different actually aspects that you are utilizing in wedding photography. You're utilizing all of your different types of skills, like some from events, some from portraits, from even products when you're shooting some details for like the bride and groom and stuff. And it's a combination of all those skills, and that's why wedding photographers charge a lot of money, because of that. And also the final delivery, you're getting, in some cases, I've delivered once to one client at least 600 to 700 photos.
Wow.
Yeah, in one
day.
One day, yeah. And that's after culling. That's after
crazy,
going through all the raw files and, choosing. So I've chosen like 600 out of like 1,000. So what was the question again?
Like, what about wedding photography?
Yeah, I
guess
think, there's that. And also I just love, I guess, photographing love. I'm a hopeless romantic. I love photographing love, and just, not love just between couples, but families as well, and guests. And it's a really nice thing to just go back and edit as well. It's really nice.
If you guys are enjoying the episode so far,
leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That's great. So when did you come to Japan, and how do you start finding clients again? Because you have to start all over again, right? Even though you have that
no more Birmingham.
Yeah, no more Birmingham or London. Yeah, gosh. It was one thing, actually. I was worried about it. Like, I couldn't speak a word of Japanese. I was not like, I didn't really like, okay, sit down, this is my marketing plan. Like, what I did basically was, as soon as I found out that I was going to be moving to Japan, I started thinking in that mindset that I am a photographer in Japan. Even though before I actually went to Japan, I booked my first client in Japan. Yeah. So what I did was I changed my marketing on my website, I changed like my Instagram, SEO, everything to photographer in Japan. And then, even though I wasn't even in Japan yet, but I knew I was going to be in Japan in a matter of weeks, if not a couple of months. So, and what happened was I actually just got an inquiry from a couple that wanted to shoot their engagement in Tokyo.
Okay.
And I was moving to Japan in November 2022. November 2022 was when I was moving to Japan.
It's exactly 1
1
year
year
ago.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah. It's quick. So that was my plan to move then, and they wanted to shoot in December. And
Ooh,
I remember
perfect.
that inquiry coming through in like August,
Oh.
September.
And the inquiry came through your
2023.
website or like
Yeah,
through
through
a
my
DM?
website.
Oh, through your website.
But I started posting photos on my Instagram as well. But she told me that she found me through Google, which I was very surprised about actually. But yeah, she just typed in photographer in Tokyo, and apparently I came up.
Oh,
So
good CEO.
Good
SEO.
SEO.
yeah, man, SEO is gonna change your life. Like,
Yeah.
if you're a business owner, you need to get your SEO on point. Otherwise, no one's gonna find you. Especially even if you're like even if you're not a photographer, like any kind of creative, videographer, designer, artist, painter. If you don't have your SEO on point, then no one's gonna see your work. And it took me a while to realize that. So I've really spent a lot of time working on my SEO. So that means blogging. That means like, making sure all your H1 tags and H2 tags and all that stuff that no one talked to me about. I had to literally just find out through YouTube, actually. And that's how I actually got my first client in Tokyo. And then, I went to that shoot, and I made sure that I did the absolute best I could. And the clients, they were super happy, and those were my first photos that I took in Japan of a couple in Japan. And then I just, again, same thing I did in 2014, posted that everywhere on the internet.
Yeah.
Same thing
Spread the
again.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing again. Posted all over the internet. And even as soon as I came to Japan in November, I just started taking photos of everything else as well. Like, my travel places that I went to, or pictures of even friends or people that I met in Japan. And I just, again, posted that everywhere. And then slowly the clients just came in like that. I mean, I guess, it's a lot more complex than I just made it sound, but yeah, that's essentially how I got my clients. And it's interesting because one of the concerns that I had was, how am I going to get clients without knowing Japanese in
That's
Japan? That was a big concern of mine. But what I realized is that there is a market of people who don't speak Japanese, English-speaking couples. And especially people that come to Japan, or just anyone that wants to take photos in Japan. That is a big market. So that became my market, people who don't speak Japanese that want to take photos here. So, yeah.
So would you say like a bulk of them are like, tourists coming in, or people who
Yeah.
live here? So
Yeah, it's a lot of guys that want to propose. To be honest, a lot of my clients are guys that want to have a magical proposal. And then I have couples that just want to document their time in Japan. I have families that just want beautiful photos in Japan. And, it's a variety of people. And most of them are tourists. And a couple of them are actually, I recently shot a family session of a family who's based in, I think it's Toyota.
okay.
So, and again, they are English speaking. They don't speak Japanese, or they're learning Japanese, I think. So, yeah.
So what is your scope of involvement? So let's say I come to you now. I want to do like a proposal shoot, and do they usually have an idea of where they want to do it, or will you suggest like, oh, we can do it here, you can do it here?
So I have an inquiry form, and on that form I have their name, the date that they want to shoot, the approximate dates, their budget, as well as ideas of where they want to shoot. They don't have to be specific, but it's helpful to have some kind of, city like Kyoto or Tokyo or Mount Fuji, which everyone loves.
Of course, the backdrop of Mount Fuji.
Gosh, everyone loves taking photos at Mount Fuji. I honestly, like, literally the other day, I was at Mount Fuji for 3 days and shooting every day.
Wow.
Like different couple every
different
day?
couples.
Wow.
Yes, and I remember I was waking up at 6 a.m. on the second day thinking, gosh, should I move here? Should I move to Yamanashi? Like, there's just so many people want to take
Is it Lake
photos of Mount
Kawaguchiko?
Fuji.
Like
Yeah. So at that time I was in Kawaguchiko, but some couples do like Yamanaka as well. I personally really like Yamanaka because there's less people and Fuji looks huge. Huge.
Where is Yamanaka?
Lake Yamanaka.
Lake Yamanaka.
Yeah, there's like swans there as well. It's beautiful.
It's cute, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very romantic.
Hmm.
Yeah. But it's great
Take
for
note.
photos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to your question. So the city, I asked them to tell me, and also, they have a selection of what kind of shoot it is. Is it a couple session? Is it a family session? Is it an engagement? Is it a wedding, pre-wedding? So they choose what it is, and that's it. And then myself or my new assistant, shout out Norika.
Shout out.
Yeah, we will email you basically letting you know what we can do and our packages, and we always suggest like the best places, and then I always talk about like the best times to shoot and hidden gems as well, and I also recommend other places that people would never even think of. So
Interesting.
yeah.
And how did you find these places, if you don't mind me asking, to review like some trick? Like, how do you find these hidden gems or this like?
Yeah. So sometimes I just go there myself. Like, I just happen to have come across it while I was traveling, or while I was like just, had a weekend away with like my husband or something. And sometimes I follow I follow a lot of other photographers on Instagram, and if there is a photo that I come across and looks really interesting, that's not like, I'm not saying Mount Fuji is not interesting, but that is not Mount Fuji, or somewhere different, I just save it.
Yeah.
I just save it in my saved
Yes.
on Instagram, and I have a album called Hidden Gems,
Mm.
and then the clients that DM me on Instagram, sometimes I'll actually send that image directly to them, and they're like, wow, actually this is a good idea. But yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Do you have to travel a lot for your work? Because it seems that you have to travel to see the hidden gems, and also like to Mount Fuji, different places for the couple. So let's say in a week, how much do you have to travel?
A lot. It depends. There are weeks where I'm not shooting at all. I'm just stuck at home editing instead. But it honestly depends the time of the year. I've noticed October/November has been super busy, but I think that's because of the season.
Yeah.
Because it's the fall season, or it's autumn, or do you say autumn or fall?
I say fall.
I say fall too.
Of course, you're going to say fall. We say autumn
In the UK.
in the UK. Yeah.
I mean, Singapore doesn't have
Autumn.
4 seasons. It has
Yeah,
one
yeah.
season. It's summer. Well, it's two.
just summer.
Yeah, summer or raining. Yeah.
Yeah.
Raining.
So, I think it's been pretty busy just because of the season. But June, July was quiet. Like I wasn't really.
There's the death of summer. If you don't know in Japan, there's like
gosh.
sunny,
Super hot.
almost
Humid.
40 degrees.
I escaped the UK in August. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. Yeah.
Is it summer in the UK?
It's summer, but it's nice. Like it's not humid.
I thought there's like
That's
huge
good,
heat
though.
waves in the UK.
Yeah, but I'd rather be in that than like 80-90% humidity.
Fair enough.
Agree.
Yeah.
So
You'd be boiling like
It's
an
terrible.
oven.
yeah. So yeah, it depends really. It depends on the season really. But recently it's been like at least once or twice a week, maybe getting on the Shinkansen, the bullet train, which I really wish they had some kind of discount for regular travelers. But
Maybe you
Yeah.
can get a commuter pass from here to Lake
To Lake
Kawaguchiko.
Kawaguchiko.
Yeah, just like
Fuji.
but I drive to Fuji.
Oh, so you drive from here
Yeah,
to Fuji?
I drive from here to Fuji because in one of our packages, in our Mount Fuji package, we do everything for the client. We drive them to the location. Yeah, so if they shoot with me, like I will sometimes pick them up from the hotel, take them to the first location, and then we shoot in multiple locations. So I'll then take them to another location, shoot there, and then I'll drop them off as well at their hotel because transport in Yamanashi, that
Yeah, it's
specific
not-
area,
yeah,
is
it's not that
not
good.
the best, and especially during the times that I'm shooting, it's like non-existent. So so I drive for that reason as well. And also traveling to Yamanashi from Nagoya on public transport is long.
Yeah.
It's very long. Yeah.
The
I
trains
did it
and
once.
stuff.
I did it once and I was like, I've literally traveled like a whole day for a 1 hour shoot, basically. So yeah, I'm racking up the mileage on my husband's car. So
So do they? I guess in your package you include like the transportation fee. If you have to take Shinkansen, like you will include that in.
So the way I do my packages, I include everything. Everything, transport. Sometimes I include accommodation. Like for the Mount Fuji package, I include like accommodation and travel. But for other packages, sometimes I'll charge a little bit extra for accommodation if I have to stay the night, be it a early morning shoot. Like if I'm shooting at 6 a.m., I don't even think there is not even any public transport around 4 a.m., 4 a.m.
True.
So I have to stay the night.
Yeah.
So yeah, but generally speaking, I include everything in my packages. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So for just curious because I'm a photographer myself,
Sure.
but I think like having makeup or like hair makeup or like someone to watch out during a shoot is really important. But you do it yourself, like you alone.
So no, I couldn't possibly do makeup and the photos. I used to love doing makeup actually on other people, but I have a rota of like makeup artists that I work with regularly in different cities. So be it in Kyoto, Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, people that also speak English or relatively well or fluent in it. So I just contact them. I tell them like, this is a shoot. Are you available? And then they set their own rates because, in a way they're artists as well. So as an artist, you should set your own rate. So I don't tell them like, this is how much you're going to be paid. They set their own rate and they charge the client directly. I don't.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't deal with any of their payments.
Oh, I see. So it's not like you hire them as part of your package.
No.
It's more like
Just
you would just connecting
No,
them. Like introducing.
no. I just connect them, and I actually give the client a list of makeup artists, so they have like a selection, and then they just choose which one is they prefer or which one is available that day, because they're in high demand because it's not the easiest thing to get an English speaking makeup artist in Japan.
Yeah, it's difficult.
It's difficult, especially as a client. Like I could imagine that would be difficult for me to communicate to a makeup artist how I want them to make me look, and they can't understand what I'm saying. That's, you know, it's not the easiest thing. So yeah, and it's the same thing for you know, kimono rentals. I have like a list of places in different cities who again have some level of English,
Okay.
and I just again recommend them. So yeah, but I don't get any like commission or anything. Maybe I should, but it's not something that, you know, that matters to me. I just, you know, it's business for other businesses as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Nice. Hold your horses. If you guys are not subscribed to us on YouTube, click that subscribe button and like the video. Subscribe.
Wow.
That's, I think, I mean, that is part of the service, I guess, especially if they are, you know, tourists or people not from Japan, they are coming
You
here.
speak Japanese.
Yeah.
They don't know like the scene, and
But if-
you can
yeah.
charge higher basically because
Exactly.
you can like
Exactly, girl.
settle
Yeah.
everything for them, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that peace of mind is worth it for
Yeah,
for
because,
most of them,
like,
yeah.
You know, for a long time, I, you know, told myself, oh, I would never pay that much for photos. Yeah, like, gosh, I'm thinking about it now. I remember when I was doing weddings and I charged like, I think 500 or 600 pounds, so like $700 for a wedding, and I thought I was making money. I thought I was making bank. Like, I was like, okay, this is good. And then I was actually second shooting at a wedding, and the main shooter, you know, she was really nice, and just out of curiosity, I stalked her when I got home, and I went on her website, and she was her prices started at $2,000,
Oh wow.
starting at $2,000, and I thought to myself, no, this can't be a thing. Like, you can't be charging this much money. So how? And I was so petty. I even went on Facebook and I went on Facebook and I was like, I would never pay 2,000. Like, I was just a hater. I was like, how is this woman charging $2,000
Yeah.
for a day's worth of photos? And then slowly and surely I realized that's the rate. That's the rate for you know, a good wedding photographer in that area, and now I charge more. So now I charge more.
Wait, do you still do weddings or
Yes.
Oh, you still do weddings?
Yeah, so for elopements, yeah, mainly. I'm planning to do a few elopements this year. But yeah, most of my clients are like portraits, engagements, all of that. But yeah, I still do the odd wedding as well. I shot my first wedding in Nagoya actually,
Nice.
which was nice. Yeah.
Was it someone who you found while you were in England, or someone you know here? before?
So I think it was a bride that just contacted me through my website, and she was, bless her, quite stressed about organizing her wedding because she was coming to Japan for the first time actually, and she was getting married in Japan. So I just helped her throughout the whole process. Like, it was a intimate wedding in her, I think it was her fiance who was Japanese, his home. So I went to their home before the wedding, and I met the family and everything, and, you know, found out everything that they needed to know, and shot the wedding for her, and she loved the photos. So
Nice.
that's what
Yeah.
matters.
That's
As
what
lo-
matters, right?
Yeah,
At the
good
end of the
photos.
day,
yeah, at the end of the day, good photos is what matters. Yeah. And not just photos, but I'd say a client experience, because you know, I still keep in touch with my clients after I've delivered the photos. So I still message them to ask how they are, and that's how you get reviews as well. That's how you get good reviews. You need to nourish the people that already gave you money, and they'll come back.
Nice. That's really good advice. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll come back, and, you know, especially with things like family shoots, like as the kid grows up, you know, they'd want to document that, or for maternity shoots when she gives birth, she'll maybe want to photograph that, and then as they get older, and, you know, it's like never ending. Like you can do a wedding and then they have a kid and you can photograph that. It's like it's
It's a
nice.
circle. Maybe their children would get married and you would.
Well, I don't know how old I'd be
Yeah.
then.
There's like
Hopefully
way
I'm retired
far
by
in the
then.
future, yeah.
Hopefully I'm retired by
That's
then.
nice though. How do you follow up with your clients? Just send them emails, or do you chat to them frequently?
So I try to follow all my clients on Instagram, and if you don't, you should, because I try and treat them as more of like a friend as opposed to something a bit transactional. If you treat your clients like a friend, then not only will they trust you more, but they'll open up to you and they will be more comfortable with you during the shoot as well. It's very, I can pick up very quickly when someone is uncomfortable during a shoot. So I'll message them on Instagram, like if they post something on their Instagram that I found funny or interesting, I'll just reply to it like I would a friend. I sometimes they're signed up to my newsletter, and sometimes I'll send them, look at this shoot that I recently did. What do you think? I'll ask their opinion as well. So I guess that's how I just keep interactions with my clients.
And there's like client relations.
Yes.
Client relationship building.
Yep.
So do you think that you want to continue this as like a solo venture, or would you want to grow it in the future? Get some photographers, train them, and start running it, like as a very, not say very big business, but having more people, and so you can have your own team.
So I've actually just started getting associate photographers on board. Yeah. So actually just last week there were 2 shoots that happened that I wasn't there. It was shot by 2 of my wonderful associates. Shout out Rafael and Yoshi. Yeah, both in Kyoto. They shot 2 shoots for me, and I did the editing, and then we delivered it to the client. So I am in this the entrepreneur is slightly coming out with the scaling situation, but part of me is battling how much of my secrets should I give, how much do I want to, I guess, train these photographers. And these photographers are already so good. I only hire the best when it comes to photo shoots. So it's just, I'm battling this internal dilemma of how much of my secrets as a photographer do I want to give, my style, my editing, and the amount of people that have asked me to make presets. I'm just no, I don't want to. It's mine. It's I know I can make a preset and I know it will sell, but that's not the reason why I'm doing it. Not everything is selling for me. For me, editing is something that's really close and dear to me. That is my style. So to answer your question, I guess I am scaling, but I'm still deciding how much I want to scale. Because my husband actually, he has said to me multiple times, you should have an editing team. But then I'm okay, what if the editing team are photographers and then they take my style that I've taught them on, and then they leave my business and then they compete with me with my own style that I taught them. So it's it's this constant battle in my mind, but I'm definitely thinking about it. I'll keep you updated.
Yeah,
what happens there.
You will see.
Yeah.
Sophia and Associates.
Yeah, I mean we do have associates already. It's just kind of deciding how much
how much you want to grow it.
Yeah.
I think that is for this kind of not really solo freelance businesses, but in the kind of freelance space, it's how big do you want to scale this? It comes to a point where I feel with photography, if you scale it too big, you realize that you're not actually doing photography anymore.
Yeah.
You're doing business, you're running operations.
Exactly.
And then you're no longer in the weeds. And for some people, they like that. For some people, they don't. They just want to be doing the work. Yeah.
And I do that enough with Matrix. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm already running a business, and photography is a passion of mine. So, and I don't want to, it is a business at the end of the day, but I don't want it to be something that is like, okay, another day of admin and managing and like just making loads of decisions. And I already have like decision fatigue as it is. So it's like, yeah. And I don't want to be an agency.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to turn into an agency where, and some agencies are great. I've worked with some of them and they've been great. But I personally, if I was a client, I personally would go directly to a photographer as opposed to an agency. There's nothing wrong going to an agency. But I don't want to turn into an agency. It's just not my style.
Yeah.
I guess it's also easier to keep like customer relationship, right?
Yeah.
Since you're like so close to them, talk to them on Instagram. But when you grow into an agency, it's really hard.
Yeah.
So I guess it
Keep
becomes a little
that-
bit,
yeah.
There's a layer of separation
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And even though my assistant like manages stuff with like the booking aspect with my clients, I still like personally deliver the photos. I still email them and see how they're doing, and I still want to keep that connection with them because that's so important. That's what will make it memorable for them as well, and that's actually how clients will refer you to other people. Like only recently, the last couple of months, I've been getting a lot of referrals, like a client just referred for word of mouth. So yeah, client relations are super important.
Yeah, I would say client relations probably one of the biggest drivers for referrals, for getting your name out there, for building reputation. Yeah, which I guess in this line of business is really one of the most important things.
100%.
So speaking of passion, do you have any kind of outside of your commercial work, any kind of passion photography projects you want to work on?
So I started a series of photographing brown women in Japan. I think it was in April. And it was just something I just started doing because I felt like doing. I just feel like a lot of imagery in Japan is of fair skin women, and I wanted to create something a little bit different. So I got my friend Norika, who's also my assistant.
Double
so
duty.
this is
Shout-outs.
before she started sending emails. Actually,
Okay.
this is before she became an assistant. So I got her and a couple of friends, and we put some South Asian clothes on, and we went to Sakai actually in Nagoya.
Cute, yeah.
We went to Sakai in Nagoya, and I just took photos of them in like a sari and like South Asian clothes in and around Nagoya. And that's not something that I got paid for or anything. It's something that I just wanted to do like personally, a personal project. And till this day, those are some of my favorite photos that I've taken. And there are some more photos that I've taken like that, but I haven't released yet.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm just, busy with clients at the moment, client work. But once it calms down, and I expect it to calm down around summer, maybe.
Well, you gotta wait one whole cycle then. It's like winter and spring.
Yeah,
Spring will be really busy, I imagine.
Okay, so this is a, I don't know, some people might find this controversial, but I don't like shooting in spring.
Ooh, you're gonna break that down.
Why?
Oh gosh, like
Spill the tea.
I just feel like it's overrated.
Ooh, do you think sakura is overrated? Wow, you heard that here. Sakura
Maybe
is
because I'm just more drawn to reds and oranges and fall. I'm more drawn to that, those kinds of colors. So sakura is beautiful, but everyone does it.
Yeah.
Everyone takes photos in sakura or cherry blossom, and I think it's great. I think it's nice, take a photo on your iPhone and, you'll get a great photo, but it's not something that I put like a lot of emphasis on. Like, okay, it's cherry blossom season, so I have to get loads of bookings. it's just something I put out there. Like, it's a standard process. You can book a shoot with me, but it's not something that I'm like obsessed about.
Yeah.
Like some people are, especially some photographers. But there's nothing wrong with being obsessed with Instagram. I'm just saying. But it's not something that I'm like, wow. Like,
Actually, I like do you know like the ume, the plum blooms?
yeah,
Like
the darker
flower-
ones.
Yeah, I like it a little bit more than the cherry
Yeah.
blossoms, to be honest.
Yeah, I think because I just prefer darker colors and
Yeah.
I'm moody in that way. So
The orangey,
yeah.
reddish.
I can
I-
see that.
I-
I can see that on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. So I like warm tones and warm colors. That's just something I'm drawn more to. And then when I post I can't like just post a picture of a cherry blossom in the middle of all these reds, like all these reds, and it's just something that I just can't do.
Evolution. Yeah.
Because like photography is kind of like it is about aesthetics. Like,
Yeah.
come on, let's be honest. And I used to like obsess a lot about my Instagram feed and how it should look. I'm still like, I'd say semi obsessive. Not as bad now, but yeah, cherry blossoms are overrated.
Ooh.
And
That's a hot
also,
take.
it's the most expensive time to come to Japan.
It is, yeah.
It
It is literally everything is more expensive. The hotels, the flights, everything is more like double the price in Japan just because of cherry blossom season.
It's true. Honestly, personally, I also think that cherry blossom season, sakura season, a little bit overrated of all like the 4 seasons, because cherry blossom happens like 1 week.
Yeah,
And then
it's,
the rest of the time is just kind of like
and it's so difficult to predict exactly when cherry blossom season is going to happen.
yeah.
So, because it actually changes in that 1 week, and it varies depending on what kind of city in which city you're in. So the bloom is going to be different from in Tokyo than it is in Nagoya.
Yeah.
So it's a complex
Hard to plan
situation.
around. Yeah.
Yeah.
And once you miss it and then the greens start appearing and you're like, my shot is ruined. Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened to me.
So,
times.
do you have any advice for any like aspiring, photographers or people who want to turn this into a full-time business while they're here in Japan?
I'd say try not to look at what other photographers are doing, first of all, because I at first felt like I was focusing too much on what other people are doing, and this is the style that I should be shooting in. And then I just stopped doing that and created my own style and, edited photos in my own way and posed couples in my own way and did things a little bit differently. And on top of that, I feel you really need to constantly post everything online, especially if you want to be found. Otherwise, no one's going to find you and no one's going to hire you if you want to take this seriously. And the other thing is charge more than you think. Yeah. Like, don't undervalue yourself. And I know a couple of great photographers, but they are definitely undercharging for what they're doing and the photos that they're producing. So charge more, and that's the only way it will be a sustainable career. Like, you can't just take it as I'm taking photos. You need to take it as I'm traveling, I'm taking time out of my day, I'm saying no to other people for this shoot, I'm editing, and how many hours that you edit, you are doing all the admin work. You're spending. I'm spending money on ads. I'm spending money on an assistant. There's so much that goes into running a photography business, and you need to be charging enough to cover that. Otherwise, what's the point? Obviously, it's a passion. Like, yeah, I love photography. It's good, but at the same time, if you want to make a living from it, you do not have to be a starving artist. You don't have to be a starving artist. You just have to price yourself in a way that is accessible, but then at the same time, don't undervalue what you're giving. I mean, just your camera alone is worth how much,
Yeah.
you know? And when a client inquires about a shoot and you give them a rate and they say to you, oh, you know, that's too high, or can I have a discount? What happens in my mind is, okay, why don't you buy this camera, you set up a tripod, and you take the photos and then edit them, you know, and everything. So obviously I don't say that because I'm not rude, but in my mind, like, that's what happens. And I feel like if clients also understood that, they actually wouldn't ask for a discount. So
How do you get them to understand that? Like, what is your reply?
Yeah.
So I'm just honest. I just tell them, you know, this is what your money is going to. I actually, when a client replies back to me saying that it's too low, or sorry, it's too high, the pricing or whatever, I'm just really honest and explain to them, look, like, you're getting photos by someone who's been doing it for almost a decade. So next year it will be 10 years since I've been taking photos professionally. You're also getting photos edited, and you're getting photos taken on a pretty expensive camera as well. The equipment itself is pretty expensive, and it is, can I just say, it's not the camera, it's the photographer, please. Like, it's just the amount of times I've come across, that's a nice camera. That's a nice camera.
That's a nice lens.
That's a nice lens.
Yeah.
Or like when someone, I take a photo and like I show someone the photo, and then they say to me, that's a nice camera. Do you know how frustrating that is for photographers? But yeah, I just, to answer your question, I literally just explain myself. I'll send one explanation email, and if that's not good enough, then that client is just not for me or my team, actually, because I have packages for a number of budgets. So, you know, I offer packages with myself and my team, and they can choose who they want, basically.
Nice.
That's nice. Speaking of that, so now you have some associate photographers. How do you see your photography business growing in maybe like next 5 years?
Wow. I would like to make 7 figures
Okay.
from it. It seems pretty far at
7
the
figures in
moment.
pounds, not yen.
Sorry,
Yen
yeah,
is just
yeah, or dollars.
depressing.
yeah. Sorry, yeah. That would be really cool. And I guess, I think the long-term plan would be to actually shoot less but charge more. So then, you know, I can spend more time with my family, and you know, eventually I want to have kids, and that is gonna take a lot of time.
Maybe just a little bit.
So eventually I do want to have kids. So when I do have kids, I want to, when it comes to my photography business, I want it to be in a way where I can decide when I want to work, and you know, it's sustainable to, you know, to the point where I don't even have to shoot for a good few months, because I shot that one wedding, for example, and that was enough to, you know, cover me for the next 3 months.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is I've seen photographers that shoot like that, and it's insane. So I guess something that's a little bit on my mind as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe when that time comes, it's time to put out a preset pack and
Oh god, here we go. I told you.
put out a preset pack and like
I
let
told
it run
you.
in the back.
I told you, yeah. But yeah, I think at the same time, I feel, you know, yes, it is a business, but then at the same time, I don't want it to completely take over my life to the point where I hate doing it. You know, it should be something that I look forward to doing it. And every single job, all kinds of work has negatives
For sure.
to it, and this job does as well too. But you know, it's something that I am really passionate about. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much for joining us, Sofia. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And if people want to find you, want to book you for a shoot, how can they find you?
So you can follow me on Instagram. It's just Sofia Hiramatsu, or you can go to sofiahiramatsu.com.
Wonderful.
Nice.
We'll put the links in the description as well. And you know who else you should follow? You should follow us
Passion
Yeah.
Project JP.
on Instagram, TikTok. And if you like the video, please share this with your friends, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much once again, Sofia, for joining us.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you.
Okay, bye.